Hiya! Welcome! Records Roundup number 65 already. Wow. I've got loads of stuff to show you today. A mail opening to do towards the end. There's actually something else that's out for delivery as I speak, but it's coming via Parcel Force from Germany, so it didn't come with the other record that came via Royal Mail. I'll no doubt show that in Records Roundup 66. Unless by some chance I get a knock on the door as I'm recording this video. Also, although I'm recording this video in late March, it'll be coming out late April, so Record Store Day will have already happened by now. There is 4 definite wants for me as far as Record Store Day is concerned, so hopefully I'll have picked those up and I'll show you those in Records Roundup 66 as well. There's 1 or 2 others that are kind of maybes for me, or I'd only get them if they were discounted somewhere down the line. But 4 that I'm definitely going to aim to try and get a couple of days after Record Store Day when everything goes online. I don't think I'm going to be actually going to my local record shop on the day. Anyway, let's get on with all this stuff I've got to show you. As I say, there's plenty today. I'll start with a CD. And this is People Like Us with People Like Us and Friends. Volume 1 technically, but there was never a volume 2. It's another People Like Us CD. This was from a Discogs seller in France. They'd had this for sale for ages and I just didn't pull the trigger because for the price, including international postage and taxes, it was a little high. I think, you know, this was not much change out of £30. I wanted it to get some way towards completing my People Like Us collection. There's 1 single, well, 1 vinyl single and another CD that I'm missing that I don't know if I'll ever be able to get, really. You know the drill with People Like Us by now. I won't go on too much about her, but great artist, lovely person as well, Vicky Bennett. Actually, I got an update about her Indiegogo campaign recently, and the album that I pledged for, technically her latest studio album, I think that's starting to be pressed now. In fact, I may well have it by the time this video comes out. So that's another potential record to show you in Records Roundup 66. But in the meantime, I'm glad I've got that. A little bit overpriced, but a lot of that was international postage and the dreaded taxes. People Like Us and Friends, Volume 1.
Please stay tuned because I'd like to sing for you.
Like a bright giant love ball shining for all to see. I am special, I am special, I am me. So let us dance, oh let us dance. Be happy, let us dance. Oh let us dance, oh let us dance.
Roll call. Donnie.
Here.
Eddie.
Here. Needing to be watered.
Jennifer. Here. Heidi and Holly.
Here.
Michael. Darlene.
Here.
Charles. Timmy.
Here.
Andy and Kelly. Yeah. Sunshine and Stanley.
Over here. Hello? Run so small.
It's just that this evening, the atmosphere had changed.
Donnie is president.
Another Discogs purchase, this time from a seller in the United States. It's a 7-inch single, and I've not shown anything by this band for a little while because I'd got almost everything, but there was still a couple of holes in the singles and EP collection. Filled one of those holes with this one from In Strict Confidence. It's their 7-inch single, Dementia. I am familiar with this track as it's on their debut album. It's a limited edition of 053 out of 300. Quick look at the back there. I won't bother getting it out of that protective sleeve, but I will briefly show you the disc just as it's easy to. There we go, not an awful lot to see. I'm still missing a certain EP on CD for In Strict Confidence. That was one that I did order on eBay ages ago and they refunded me after I had to chase them up because it was out of stock. And there's only been 1 seller on Discogs who's had it in stock for a while, and in a similar vein to the People Like Us CD, it's just a little bit too pricey. This, I think, considering it was from America and it is very limited edition, I don't think it was too bad. There again, I think this was around 30, including the usual extra charges. But they've actually got this up on In Strict Confidence's web store, and they're asking think it was about €70 for it. So I've got this for, if you compare it to ISC's web store, I've got this for, I suppose, better than half price. Just another one as a collection filler there, Dementia by In Strict Confidence. Onto the vinyl albums now. These aren't in any order of when I bought them. This one is a purchase from Mixed Up Records, and this was heavily discounted. I think it was in their sale, and I might have received an email code from them for an extra 15% off. So this wound up being something like about £12.50 for a brand new album. It was one that I knew if I ever saw it cheap I'd pick it up, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon. Another thing I like about Mixed Up Records is they always write you a nice little note there on their invoice. I say invoice, I don't think the actual price is on there. But the album is This Is Telex by Telex. I did unbox the Telex Studio Albums box set back in, was that January or early February? I'm losing track. And as far as vinyl and albums go, this is really the only other thing that's available, at least kind of in a sort of modern format, a modern release. So it's got a lot of stuff that I've already got on those albums, but it does have bonus tracks or new tracks, although how new they are is debatable, such as their cover of the Beatles' Dear Prudence, and there's a cover of a Sonny and Cher track, I think, as well. The Beat Goes On Off. It's double coloured vinyl. Yep, let's get this open so I can show you. Both colours are different as well. On the Mute Records label, this is up for sale at Mute Bank, but it wasn't anywhere near as good a price as what Mixed Up Records had it for. That was an unsuccessful slice. There we go, that's better. I do like that nice metallic hype sticker on it as well. No, it's not a gatefold, this. So this presumably is LP1 with a nice inner, and I think we know what colour the vinyl is going to be. Yep, it's a sort of somewhat marbled pink. Certainly marbled this side. I don't think it looks marbled at all on camera, but me looking at it this side on, it certainly is. That's really nice. That's called on the hype sticker Shrimp Pink. I suppose it was fairly shrimp looking. We don't call them shrimp over here, do we? We call them prawns. I don't like seafood, so it doesn't really affect me either way. And then the second disc, this apparently is Fern Green vinyl. There again, it's got, not as noticeable as the Shrimp Pink disc, but it's got some very slight marbling on it if you look closely. But on camera, it just looks like a nice, sort of fresh green colour. Fantastic. So yeah, really glad to have got that for such a good price, including postage. It wasn't much more than about £16, I think. With a couple of discounts, it was a no-brainer really, as I thoroughly enjoyed the Telex box set. And I did say to myself, if I saw this compilation on a good discount, I'd get it. Really struggling to keep this cellophane on neatly. There we go. Yeah, that's all fine. This is Telex by Telex.
The sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you, dear Prudence. Won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence, open up your eyes.
next, a purchase from HMV, and this completes my Pulp collection. This is their second album, Freaks, and it's subtitled 10 Stories About Power, Claustrophobia, Suffocation and Holding Hands. So I've been showing a little bit of Pulp recently as I've decided to get their early albums, and this one was the one that I was missing. It's due for a reissue this month, April. Probably come out already by the time you're watching this, but this 2022 repressing was in stock at I think $24.99 at HMV. That was a fair price, especially as it's a double album as well. Not really an awful lot else to say about it. I will have heard some stuff on here, as I had an old Pulp pre-Britpop compilation called Countdown on CD when I was a teenager, so there's bound to be at least a couple, if not a few, tracks off here on that compilation, but I've not heard them in donkey's years. So yeah, the Pulp collection, as far as studio albums is concerned, certainly is now complete with Freaks. And it's on black vinyl, by the way, so that's why I'm not getting it out.
The days are filled with things to do. Nighttime lies so hollow and memories betray. Oh, memories of love, love. So sad to see. They suffocate at night. Those memories of love, love. So sad to see it slowly die.
Alright, two albums from the same band here now, although they were both bought at different websites. The first one was a purchase from Relevant Records and Cafe in Cambridge. I've not used them in quite some time, but I do like them. And this is one that adds to a collection that I'm really enjoying building up at the moment. It was quite difficult to find in the specific format that I wanted, unless I was willing to pay silly money, like between £45–50. I think even Amazon were asking at least $46–47 for this. Relevant had it for $31.99. It's exactly the edition I want because it's the half-speed master 2LP Tommy by The Who. Once again, black vinyl. Tommy, does it really need an introduction? Not really. I will have heard a fair bit on here. I've never seen the film, don't really intend to see the film, but if I see the DVD or Blu-ray going dirt cheap somewhere, I might just pick it up out of curiosity's sake, and I will touch upon The Who and films again in a moment. Yeah, $31.99 and then about £5 something in postage. That is as cheap as I've seen this. It came out a couple of years or so back, and it's a little bit difficult to find, especially for a good price. Really happy to have got Tommy, but there's more Who. I've also got, quite appropriately, another 2LP set, another half-speed master. This one though is Quadrophenia. So this came out as a half-speed master back in early February. I did buy the Who by Numbers, which I think was released at the same time. That was just a single disc and it was pretty cheap at Townsend. This one, I was willing to wait for this until it had started getting a good discount, but where did I buy this from? I think this was from Norman Records, if memory serves, and they had this discounted a little bit, and then I think I had a code because I'd signed up to their website when I previously used them, so this knocked some money off. It was still, I think, over £40, which I don't think is bad for a brand new audiophile quality double album, certainly. I did actually watch Quadrophenia, the film, for the first time recently. I decided I'd buy it because I knew that I was getting this album. And yeah, a really good film. Parts of it I've got problems with relating to certain characters and acting and the fact that Phil Daniels just wears eyeliner for the last bit of the film, but yeah, I can see why people think it's one of the best British films of all time. It's never going to be one of my very favourites, but I'm glad I've seen it finally after all these years. but it's the music that's important for me. Just to get 2 more Who studio albums into the collection is very important. Hopefully there'll be another Who Half-Speed Master come out, because I can think of 1 studio album of theirs that I don't think's been released in this Abbey Road Studios reissue series yet. So maybe that'll be coming later in the year, I don't know. But that is Quadrophenia. Next up is a pre-order that I made at Bandcamp, more specifically Time Slave Recordings, quite some time ago, and it finally got in stock recently, and it is the latest album from synthwave legend Timecop 1983, Searching for Tomorrow. I think I've got all of Timecop's albums over mainly vinyl, but there's 2 or 3 I've got on mini disc as well. As soon as a Timecop 1983 release gets announced by Time Slave, it's a must want for me, because he's sort of at the elite level of the synthwave game, really. I don't collect as much synthwave as I did maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but I still love the genre, still one of my favourite subgenres of electronic music. Can it get a bit samey at times? Yeah, but it just gives you that 80s nostalgia hit right away. I will show you this disc, as it's a rather pretty one, as you would expect from the lads at Time Slave. And here it is. It's classed as, I think, double blue and pink spatter. They always put a really attractive disc out at Time Slave, and that one's no exception. If it'd come out on mini disc, I'd have probably preferred to, but they don't seem to have released hardly any mini discs in like the past year or so on Bandcamp of Time Slave, so I'm wondering if, because there's eventually going to be a mini disc shortage, you know, brand new mini discs, because no one's manufacturing them anymore. Sony were manufacturing them still in Japan up until about a year or so back, so I think now the whole independent artists releasing on MD thing has slowed right down, simply because companies, artists, record labels, pressers are now having to use stock that isn't going to be replenished. So I understand, whereas vinyl, obviously, you know, that's going to be carried on being manufactured for until the year dot, really. So there we are, Time Slave Recordings and his new LP, Searching for Tomorrow. Penultimate pickup to show you is a pre-owned purchase from eBay. This one cost me just £10 plus £4-ish in postage, so a good bargain considering who the group are, because it's With the Beatles by the Beatles. This is an interesting edition, this. Now, if you cast your mind back to, it would have been Records Roundup 63, it was a Beatles special. I've been collecting a lot of the 2012 remasters and 1 or 2 other bits as well, such as Live at the Hollywood Bowl and the 2018 remix of the White Album. But I was missing Rubber Soul and With the Beatles for their studio albums on vinyl. and with the Beatles I've managed to pick it up. But what's interesting about this, and I'll bring it forward to show you, have you noticed? That's actually a French hype sticker on it. When I saw it on eBay I thought, that's weird. A little bit damaged there, but I'm not really arsed about that. I've found what I think is this pressing on Discogs to add to my collection. I'm not 100% certain it's the right one, but it's one that was definitely sold in France. Why this one, and it was from a UK seller by the way, this wasn't imported from France to me. So yeah, a little bit different from all the other remastered Beatles that I've got recently, but it's still done in the same style, it's just all in French. I'll give you a quick look at the vinyl because this is already open, it's just black though, not that interesting, but it's always nice to show a Beatles disc in it. So there we go, it's a replica of the Parlophone label, as it no doubt always is for early Beatles releases. So the only studio album left now that I've not got on vinyl is Rubber Soul. One of my favourites actually. The only edition of Rubber Soul I've got is in the Beatles in Mono CD box set. If I see it for a good price, like I saw with the Beatles on eBay, it was an auction win and I was the only bidder by the way. But if I see Rubber Soul really cheap, then yeah, I'll pick it up. But I can't help wondering and suspecting that that's going to be the next reissue, you know, the remix by Giles Martin and Sam O'Kell that might come out. Whether it'll be like the end of this year or maybe into next year, I don't know. Knowing how impatient I am to get holes filled in collections, whether I can wait that long, because if they do remix of Rubber Soul and that comes out this year or next year, then if they bring out a picture disc, I'd really like that, because I've got all the other remixes on picture disc that are available. So I don't know, maybe I'll try and hold off looking too hard for Rubber Soul, and if I happen upon it, you know, in this standard remastered format here, then I'll pick it up. But lovely to have with the Beatles, no clip being played of them because I just get fed up of having to remove Beatles related content of my videos. And finally, the mail opening. Thought there might be 2 mail openings today, but I just wanted to get this video filmed while I had some time. And the album that's coming from Parcel Force still hasn't turned up while I've been recording, but that's fine. I'll be showing you that in the next Records Roundup. So this is a purchase from Bear Tree Records. Bear Tree was the record shop based in Sheffield that I got plenty of those Beatles remasters from, and the majority of them were £16.99. This one wasn't a sale item, it's one I need another collection gap filler, and it was £24.99, and I thought, you know what, for a double album, and one that isn't particularly available very widely either, I ought to probably jump on that before someone else does. And it is A Bigger Bang by the Rolling Stones. Of course, it's got the red and white hype sticker on. Well, it's got a bit of black on it, but that's all the kind of legal mumbo jumbo. Never really rated this as an album sleeve. I think, as far as Stones album sleeves are concerned, this is probably one of the worst ones. But, you know, that's by the by, really. Very minimal on the back there. It is black vinyl, of course. So yeah, Bigger Bang, that originally came out 2005, I think. It says on screen, as it always does. Just one I needed for the Stones studio album collection. The only 2 Stones albums I need now, studio albums I'm talking about, because they're the important thing for me. I have picked up, as you know, live stuff and a compilation or 2, but it's the studio albums that I was really focusing on. But the 2 that I need now are Voodoo Lounge and Bridges to Babylon. I know where I can pick those up, and the prices are pretty much acceptable to me as brand new copies, but I'm trying to not rush and just get everything all at once, because it's just more expensive if you buy too much at one time. But when Bear Tree had this in stock, and at £25 for a double album, that was a good deal. Brand new and sealed, obviously. I thought, yes, A Bigger Bang, I shall have it, it shall be mine. So there we go, another one to the Rolling Stones collection.
While lovers laugh and music plays, I stumble by and I hide my pain. The lamps are lit, the moon is gone, I think I'll crawl
And that is your Records Roundup number 65. Thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed it. Special thanks go, as always, to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. As I say, I'm certain Records Roundup 66 will be me showcasing anything that I was able to pick up relating to Record Store Day 2024. We've also got the brand new studio album that I'm waiting for that should be delivered at some point today. There's a couple of other things that I've ordered. Pre-orders, I think there's at least one that's end of April, so should be showing you that as well. So plenty to come in number 66. Let's be en route to that one together as I say goodbye to you now. Don't know what the bloody hell I'm banging on about, but thank you once again, and please will you join me again for the aforementioned Records Roundup 66, and of course any and all of my future music and record collecting videos. Cheers everyone. See ya!